Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. A lot of you do watch this in the morning, so welcome. We're going to be discussing in this video something a little counterintuitive. We're going to be talking about why we are not seeing the full effects of the shortages and the supply chain disruptions that we're hearing about. Why isn't that really translating to the store shelves quite as much as we would expect? Right? We hear about the massive disruption in energy prices, and unless you're in certain areas, those prices are going up, but not as much as you think they would be. We're going to be talking about some of the buffers in place, some of the last-ditch efforts that are happening that are kind of protecting us for a short bit from the full brunt of some of these impacts, the bad harvests, the energy decisions being made, and the inflation, right? So why aren't we feeling the full effect of these issues? Let's get into it. First off, producer prices are up 11.2%, and they are rising. That is high. Remember, when we have the producers getting hit with inflation, they're going to pass all that on to the consumer. So basically, the factories are paying 11.2% more than they were last year, which at first it doesn't sound so bad, but remember that these prices compound. The inflation actually builds up in the system, and the further you are away from the original purchase, because it can be added at each level. So why aren't we seeing that hitting us at the store shelves at a much higher rate? And the big answer right now is because companies are eating the damages. That's what's happening. Companies are actually taking a hit to their profits. I know. It sounds crazy. It's the exact opposite of everything you hear in the news about those greedy, rich corporations doing all sorts of stuff. The corporations are the ones who are eating the damage right now, but they're not going to keep doing that. All right. The problem is that every time they try to raise the prices, they get a lot of pushback. And so they've been very reluctant to raise the prices. And I know you see the store shelves and you're like, it doesn't look like they're being reluctant to raise the prices. But when you look at the numbers, they are. They're actually taking some pretty significant hits to their bottom line, because if they raise the price as much as they need to, people get sticker shock and stop buying the product. So it's better to make a little bit of money and keep selling your product rather than getting shut down because a whole bunch of your product is just not being sold and you have to shut down the factories, and you may make more per unit, but the thing is that you just can't sell them. So what's happening is companies are eating the damage right now, but that's not going to last. As they all look around at the other ones in the same business and say, hey, we got to raise our prices, and they're all going to be like, yep, we got to raise our prices too. As soon as companies start doing that, they're going to use each other's price hikes for cover. And we're starting to see that on the price shelves right now. That's going to get a lot worse. They feel better about raising prices on food because they know you need it. But other products, they are not raising prices quite as fast, and that's going to start changing. Second thing is that wages are stuck where they are. People aren't getting paid more just yet. Prices are hitting you at the store shelves. Prices are going up, 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 up. How about your paycheck? Is your paycheck going up, up, up? No, it's not. That's going to change at some point, because you're going to feel so much pain, and everyone else around you is going to feel so much pain that we're all going to be like, I'm not coming into work unless you jack the pay up. And when that happens, that's when you're going to see just this spiral of inflation start getting out of control, because they're going to pay their workers more, but then they're going to have to charge even more for their products, which is going to make the workers demand more money, which you see that spiral is going to start. That spiral has not started because I said before that corporations are eating the damages, but so are the workers. In fact, the workers are eating more of the damage than anyone else right now. So wages are not going up as inflation goes up. Okay, third thing, energy. We're hearing about these energy shortages. We're seeing a whole major supplier of energy getting cut out of the world economy, and that is a big deal. Why aren't we feeling that quite as much as you would imagine the numbers would go up? And the simple fact is that Biden, as well as President Biden and other people, have started releasing their strategic petroleum reserves. We are dumping a ton of oil out of our strategic petroleum reserves. This is not just the United States. This is numerous other countries doing this too. But to give you just an idea of the scale of this, the United States has 550 million barrels of oil in the strategic petroleum reserve. Over the next 6 months, the United States is committed to dumping 240 million of those barrels onto the market. The United States is going to cut its strategic petroleum reserve in half in the next 6 months. In another world, that would be called treason, because that reserve exists for wartime crises. And now we're using it just to make it so that people in Tonga don't have to pay quite as much for gas. The whole world is being propped up by the United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is not what it exists for. We're going to be down to something like 260, 270 million barrels per oil. That's assuming that we don't dump even more after that or accelerate that process, right? So with all that said, what is the dragon country across the ocean doing? Well, they're doing directly the opposite. We're at 550 million barrels, and we're about to dump half of them. The dragon country is buying up more, and they're at 950 million barrels of oil. It almost makes you think that maybe they're preparing for war, while the United States is literally preparing to lose a war. Not only that, but then when we look at food, okay, we're not feeling the full effects of some of these bad harvests and what's going on right now because we're still eating 2021 harvests. But here's what's happening. We're seeing food stocks around the world plummeting. Egypt, we can't get hard numbers out of how much wheat that they're losing, but their stockpiles are reportedly dropping fast. They are trying to desperately find places where they can buy wheat. They're the world's largest importer of wheat. They don't grow much of their own at all. Indian stocks, which is where Egypt looks like they're going to be getting their a bunch of their wheat from. They're trying to close that deal. Indian stocks of wheat have dropped from 27 million tons last year to 19 million tons this year. Same time period, right? They've lost 8 million tons of their wheat, and they're still considered a prime opportunity to export that wheat. They are just moving themselves towards famine, and they are not acting in a protectionist way at all, which is what we're going to be seeing more and more countries doing. We're already seeing some countries doing that. World stocks of wheat are at 2.5 months worth of wheat. That's a 14-year low, in case you didn't know. That number means if we just stop harvesting wheat, period, no more wheat comes onto the market, we will run out of wheat within 2.5 months. Now, we do continue to harvest wheat, right? The United States, to give you some perspective, United States wheat stocks compared to this same time last year are down 22%. Usually it bottoms around June 1st for wheat. Barley is down 39.7% as compared to last year. We had a really bad barley harvest. And people are using that, of course, for animal feed, of course. Durum wheat, down 29.6% compared to last year. We got some serious issues. What's happening is food prices are not going up as dramatically because the simple thing is that we have a lot of food stored up, but we are eating through that real fast. We're not feeling the energy crisis quite so much because we have a lot of oil stored up. We are rapidly depleting our stockpiles of oil and food, whereas the dragon country has loaded up on food. China has 50% of the world's wheat in their stockpiles. When I said 2.5 months before the world runs out of wheat, China has 1.25 of that 2.5 months just in their country. So the world can run out of wheat a whole lot faster without that. All right. And then just throwing it out there, if you guys aren't seeing this, there's some really crazy stuff happening on the southern border right now. The governor of Texas, being very upset with the immigration policies and such like that, has said, okay, well, then what we're going to do is we're going to start really checking all the trucks and all the vehicles coming through all the checkpoints. We're going to slow that down to a halt in order to force the government of Mexico to start enforcing the border themselves. And what just happened today is that the Mexican truckers have gone on strike and are blockading one of the gateways into the United States. And so both sides are ironically trying to do the same thing, which is shut down the trade on the southern border in order to get two different things. So we're going to see where that goes, but all it is to say, if you want your avocado toast, it may be getting a little more expensive because not as much avocados are coming across at least the Mexican-Texas borders. All right, folks, that's what I got for you today. Things are coming down the pike, and just because we see them coming off in a far distance, don't think that they're not coming. That freight train is still coming right at us. It's just taking a little longer to get here than what maybe you might have thought. But when it hits us, there ain't no stopping it. And honestly, we're looking at the point right now where there's no stopping it. It's just coming at us. You have a little bit more time to prepare, but when people around the country and around the world start waking up to the reality, that will be when you have run out of time to prepare because everything's going to disappear. Fire sale side, kind of like. All right, that's all I got for you. Steve Poplar, out.